Ambassador Kethvar's crystalline laughter echoed through the grand chamber of the Galactic Council as he gestured dismissively at the display hovering before the assembly. The holographic projection showed crude human soldiers carrying what could only be described as primitive metal tubes. Esteemed colleagues, Kethvar announced to the gathered representatives of 47 star nations, behold the pinnacle of human military technology, they call them firearms. Another wave of amused chittering and harmonic resonances filled the chamber as delegates from across the galaxy shared in the joke. Fleet Admiral Zexandra of the Hegemony leaned forward in her gravitational suspension field, her 6 eyes blinking in sequence to express incredulity. Are we to understand that these humans propel small metal projectiles using chemical explosions? How delightfully primitive! The Terran representative, General Sarah Chen, stood quietly at the witness podium, her weathered face betraying no emotion as the assembled beings mocked her species' weapons. She had been summoned to explain humanity's military capabilities as part of their application for associate membership in the Galactic Council, a process that was clearly not going in humanity's favor. With respect, honored delegates, General Chen said, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber's translation matrix, you asked for a demonstration of our military technology. I believe you'll find our primitive weapons more effective than your scans indicate. Councillor Vorthark of the Synthesis Collective waved a dismissive tentacle. Child species, we have studied your armaments thoroughly. Kinetic projectiles? Chemical propellants? Our shield technologies have rendered such crude methods obsolete for millennia. A single hegemony battlecruiser could neutralize your entire planetary defense grid without sustaining damage. Our plasma cannons, added Kethvar smugly, deliver the equivalent energy of your largest nuclear weapons with each shot. Our quantum disruptors can unmake matter at the subatomic level. What possible threat could tiny metal pellets pose to such technology? General Chen nodded thoughtfully. Your weapons are indeed impressive. However, you're operating under a fundamental misunderstanding about human military doctrine. May I request permission to demonstrate? The chamber erupted in more crystalline laughter and harmonic amusement. Councillor Vorthark gestured magnanimously. By all means, human. Show us these fearsome guns of yours. Perhaps we could use the entertainment. What happened next would be studied in military academies across the galaxy for generations to come. General Chen activated her personal communicator. Admiral Rodriguez, you are cleared for demonstration pattern Alpha. Single shot, minimal yield. High above the Council's orbital platform, the human dreadnought Indomitable adjusted its position with precision thrusters. The ship was unremarkable by galactic standards, no gleaming hull, no exotic energy signatures, just functional gray metal and practical design. What the alien scans had failed to detect, however, was the true nature of human kinetic weapons. The railgun that emerged from the Indomitable's hull was massive, nearly 1 kilometer long, and powered by the ship's entire fusion reactor array. It didn't fire bullets. It fired tungsten rods the size of telephone poles, at a significant percentage of the speed of light. Firing came Admiral Rodriguez's voice through the comma. The delegates barely had time to register the words before the demonstration target, a decommissioned hegemony frigate positioned 50,000 kilometers away, simply ceased to exist, not destroyed, not vaporized, but literally converted to its component atoms as the hypervelocity projectile delivered kinetic energy equivalent to a small star going supernova. The silence in the chamber was absolute. General Chen checked her tablet with professional calm. Impact velocity, approximately 67,000 kilometers per second. Kinetic energy delivered, 4.2 1020 joules. Time from firing to target elimination, 0.74 seconds. Range, effectively unlimited in vacuum. She looked up at the stunned delegates. "Our primitive guns, as you called them." Fleet Admiral Zexandra's 6 eyes were now wide with something approaching terror. That energy signature. It's impossible. No conventional weapon should be able to generate that kind of... "You're correct," General Chen interrupted politely. "No conventional weapon could. But you assumed our bullets were conventional. Human military doctrine has always focused on making the most of simple principles. We took kinetic energy, the oldest weapon in the universe, and applied our engineering capabilities to it." Kethvar's crystalline form had shifted to a distinctly pale hue. "The power requirements alone. How do you generate sufficient energy to..." "Each of our dreadnoughts carries a miniaturized stellar core," General Chen explained matter-of-factly. "We learned to contain and harness fusion reactions 3 centuries ago. Unlike your energy weapons, which require exotic matter and complex field generators, our railguns convert pure electrical energy directly into kinetic force. Simple physics, maximized efficiency." Counselor Vorthak's tentacles writhed with agitation. "But the targeting systems, the precision required to hit a target at interplanetary ranges." "We've been studying ballistics for over 1,000 years, General Chen said with a slight smile. "We started with bronze cannons and worked our way up. Trajectory calculation is a hobby of ours." The implications were sinking in across the chamber. Human weapons weren't just effective, they were terrifyingly simple and scalable. While galactic civilizations had pursued increasingly exotic and complex weapons technologies, humans had perfected the art of throwing rocks. Very, very fast rocks. "The psychological impact," whispered Admiral Zexandra, "of weapons that literally erase targets from existence." "Our doctrine emphasizes rapid, decisive engagement," General Chen confirmed. "In human military philosophy, the best battle is one that ends before the enemy can return fire. Our railgun networks can deliver planet-killing strikes across light years in seconds. No shields, no exotic defenses, just raw physics." The demonstration had lasted less than 5 minutes, but it fundamentally altered the balance of power in the galaxy. Species that had dominated through technological superiority suddenly found themselves facing an enemy that had taken the most basic principle of warfare, hitting your enemy harder than they hit you, and perfected it beyond all reasonable limits. Kethvar was the first to break the stunned silence. The Galactic Council would be honored to grant humanity full membership status. Immediately. General Chen nodded graciously. "We accept, and we look forward to peaceful cooperation with all Council species." She paused, her smile becoming slightly sharper. "We do hope that peace remains mutually beneficial." As the delegates filed out in subdued silence, one truth echoed through their minds. They had laughed at human guns because they thought they understood them. They hadn't realized that humans had spent millennia turning the simple act of throwing something very hard into an art form capable of reshaping star systems. The laughter had stopped. The respect had begun. And somewhere in the back of every delegate's mind was the uncomfortable knowledge that if humans could do this with primitive kinetic weapons, what other surprises might their deceptively simple species have in store? The universe had just become a much more interesting and dangerous place.